It is Tuesday, March 8th, and we're talking quarterbacks. Free agency's right around the corner. Let's get to it. All right, so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk quarterbacks, quarterback situations, the top available quarterbacks this year, not including the quarterbacks in the draft, just the guys available for trade or free agency. So with that being said, we'll get right into it. And the big news, one of the big news of today was Aaron Rodgers, and he signed with the Green Bay Packers. I think that was pretty obvious. Green Bay couldn't afford to let him go and go with Jordan Love, in my opinion. If I was a fan, I'd be pissed. So I think they did what they had to do, keeping Aaron Rodgers.
I agree. I mean, he got what he wanted. At the end of the day, he wanted his $50 million a year. So, Green Bay was going to give him whatever he wanted just to keep him.
Yep. And it's worth noting it's a 4-year deal. So that's going to put him through his age 43 season. And then they just wrapped up Devontae Adams. The flip side of this, I mean, that puts you past Jordan Love's rookie contract. I mean, you're going to run into one of those Brady Garoppolo, who do you pay type situations. I don't know if they're going to just test him in blowouts or what, but they either got to see what they got in Love or trade him while he's still got value.
Yeah, I think, with Love not getting on the field, that was obviously a bad pick in hindsight.
Yeah. Especially Justin Jefferson was still on the field or on the board, if I remember right.
Sure, they would have liked to have him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, and that'll take us to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Tom Brady. He retired. Do you think he's coming back? I personally think he's done. He never talked about retirement in the past. He always talked about playing until he was 45, and now he's almost 45, and he's talked about retirement and retired. So I'm sure he still wants to play, but there's no way he's feeling like he was 3 years ago, thus the retirement. But if he does come back to play, I could only see him going to Tampa or, they're talking about his childhood team being the 49ers. What do you guys think?
I think he's staying retired. There's nothing left that he needs to prove. I mean, he's got his Super Bowls. He's got, he's got everything he can want, there's no need to come back to play another year, regardless of what team he goes to. I mean, I know there was talk in the past too, but, I'm pretty sure he's staying retired here.
Yeah, I agree. Tom Brady is not Brett Favre. He's going to make a decision and he's going to stick with that. I mean, obviously they were still winning. He was still competitive. He was still an MVP candidate this past year. But to his standards, he's not where he was. All the picks in the playoffs recently, somebody as competitive as he is, that's got to irk the hell out of him. And, it's just, it's not fun when you're not playing at the level that that you can play.
I agree. And that takes us on to the other big move of the day. Russell Wilson, blockbuster trade with the Denver Broncos. New era begins.
Yeah. Wilson said that if he was going anywhere, he wanted to go to Denver. And since he did have the full no trade clause, odds are good he'll waive it. But they gave up a haul to get him. But they're in win now mode. They've got a really great core of receivers there, and Wilson obviously has not declined. He finished the season red hot after rehabbing that finger, and he should be ready to go for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos are in a situation where they want to win now. I mean, they gave up a lot for him. Seattle, they got Drew Lock and Noah Fant. You got D. Lyman, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, the number 9 overall.
2 seconds.
Seattle made out.
Seattle sends us 4th.
What's that?
I said there's 2 1s, 2 2s, and Seattle sends a 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that includes the number 9 overall pick in this year's draft, which very well could be Wilson's replacement.
That's definitely a haul. I think you like it for both teams. Now Denver,
yeah,
You need a legit quarterback. You're in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. You need a legit quarterback, and now they have one. So
Yeah.
we'll see if they can compete. And with Seattle, it was looking like they were coming to the end of their run that they had anyway. And now you've got a legit haul of picks to rebuild that team. So it's not looking good in the near future for Seattle, but down the road, they got something to look forward to.
Well, I guess we'll see what Drew Lock can do this year.
It makes you wonder if Pete Carroll is ready to hang up the reins. I mean, he's getting up there in age, and if he's been adamant that he doesn't want to go through a rebuild, so writing could be on the wall there.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any other players available. I, for one, wouldn't mind Tyler Lockett taking a trip down to Miami. That takes us to your Atlanta Falcons, Sam. Why don't you get us started with old Matt Ryan, your boy?
Matt Ryan, he's got the highest cap hit in the NFL by quite a bit. He's at $48 million, if I'm not mistaken. If he were to be traded, the team getting him would take an average value of $26 million for 22 and 23, which makes it a pretty competitive deal for somebody of his caliber. Atlanta has, they've been playing the middle of the road there. They're not saying that they want to move them, but they're saying that, anybody's available, blah, blah, blah. If you make us an offer, the NFL is a copycat league. I feel like they're baiting somebody to try and see if they'll take the Stafford route and try and go after him. But it would take a haul. And now after everything with Wilson, Ryan is 4 years older and not the same level of production. He's a pocket passer, and you'd have to go to a team with a stacked line. But, he's a prior MVP. He can lead a team to a championship. So it could entice somebody like Washington or Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those teams being possible suitors for Matt Ryan. Personally, I wouldn't give up much for him because, like you said, he's 4 years older than Russell Wilson. He really doesn't have that much time left. But if you have a win now team, a team that's ready to win and compete for the Super Bowl now, then he'd be worth taking a shot on. I mean, I might give up as much as a second round pick, but I wouldn't give up a first or anything more.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that while I said all that, I do believe Matt Ryan will finish his career in Atlanta. I don't see it happening, but if they get the right offer, they might pull the trigger.
Yeah, Atlanta's not. I definitely don't think Atlanta's moving on from him. He's definitely going to stay in Atlanta, finish his career, and that's what I see coming. I don't see many teams going to really make a move to give up that much, like you guys were saying.
Yeah, maybe the Steelers. They're a playoff-ready team, but again, it's not for me. I don't give up a lot for him because there's not too many years left on his tires.
No, I mean they're going to want receivers right now, also. So,
well. On the flip side of that, I mean, he has only missed 3 games in his entire career. And I mean, he's been durable, and that's despite taking a lot of hits over 15 years. I mean, he can go. He hasn't lost much zip off of the ball. I mean, not that he was ever a strong arm guy to begin with, but if you put him in the right system, he could give you 3-4 years. So, I mean, I don't think he's dead, but at the same point, I know he's not winning a ring in Atlanta. They're not ready to compete, and his cap completely prohibits them from being a championship team. If he wants a ring, he could ask for a trade, but I don't think he will.
All right. Well, that takes us to the best quarterback left that's available, and probably won't play this year on top of it, Deshaun Watson. Dave, what do you think? What do you think about old Deshaun Watson?
Personally, I mean,
you used to see him twice a year.
For him, the chances of him playing this year are slim to none. If anything, I think at most he might get a half a season in, and I think that's just too much for any team at this point to take a chance on. It's high risk, high reward type of deal. I just don't see it really worth it to anybody at this point. I mean, I know he's, probably a top 5 quarterback in the league, but, you're going to trade, quite a few trades. You're going to give up a lot just to, have someone who's probably not going to be playing.
Yeah, and I agree. It's going to take multiple first-round picks to get him. And if he's not even going to play for a year, why would you do that? So any team would love to have the guy, but I don't think I don't think he has many options out there now.
Yeah, he's and you consider that any team that takes him on, they need to address his massive cap hit as well. So I mean, you've got to be flush with picks and ready to trade. You have to be willing to accept the fact that he comes with 22 cases of sexual assault. And I mean, yeah, he hasn't been charged with anything, but like you guys said, I mean, he could be at any moment, oh nope, you're done, you're out, you're arrested, whatever, who knows what. He could be facing a lifetime ban if he's convicted, who knows. For a team that has the capital, say Philadelphia with 3 first-round picks this year, they could go out and get him, but that is a hell of a risk.
Yeah, that, and to me, like we said, he's probably not playing this year. So I don't give up multiple first-round picks in a season for a guy that's not going to play in that season. To me, that's just counterproductive.
Well, for a fact he's not going to play in Houston this year, regardless of what happens.
Yeah,
he sat last year. He'll sit again if he has to. But he's got some issues with the front office over there, and that weakens their bargaining power. Maybe between all the stuff going on with him and the fact that every other GM in the league knows that he hates them and he wants out, and he sat all of last year as a healthy scratch. I mean, maybe that lowers his value to something palatable for somebody. Teams get desperate. I mean, look, when's the last time the Jets had a real quarterback? I mean, it's a real thing. The Broncos, they just gave up the world for Wilson. They've been completely in purgatory since Peyton Manning. You've got to. Quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. You give up.
Seattle's got some ammo now.
I mean, out of everybody, it probably makes the most sense for the Jets, but I don't think the Jets have enough to give up. I mean, they're already kind of in some rough shape.
Well, I was just saying the Jets because they've been in purgatory longer than anybody else. But I mean, hopefully they're trying to stick to Wilson here. Giving up on number 2 overall pick 1 year later would be ridiculous.
You can't do that, and not for a guy that won't play. You can't give up a guy that's available to play for a guy that will not play. So,
right.
I think, hey, Seattle, they just got some picks. You know what I mean? If you're not talking about this guy playing next year, Seattle's got the ammo for next season if this guy doesn't get traded before the draft. So, that's a possibility too. It's a good possibility if it doesn't go before
absolutely.
The draft.
And there, you look at the teams that typically take guys that are, they have the issues or whatever, and the rest of the league won't touch them, like how the Cowboys went and grabbed Greg Hardy when nobody else wanted to touch him, and then he was able to reclaim himself into a productive career. Teams like that might take a swing. Saints, they'll sign, they don't have the, player filter as tight as everybody else. Quarterback needy team, they might swing for the fences. Who knows?
Yeah, I think another team that could make sense, maybe not for this season because I don't think they have the ammo, but the Panthers. Their owner has been noted. He wanted to make a splash. Sam Darnold's not the guy. It's just they don't have picks in this year's draft. But if Deshaun Watson's still available after the draft, they get their picks for next year. And, maybe they make it then.
And at that point, if Watson sits 2 years, then his stock is pretty low. And maybe it's a buy low scenario where they come out a winner. Again, the Saints are not the team to sign him either. I wasn't saying that they will because they're negative $70 million under the cap.
So,
I mean, the Panthers don't really have much either. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey if they're willing to part ways with him, but Sam Darnold was another, Jets first round draft pick over there. So
yep,
they do struggle with quarterbacks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go on record and say that the guy doesn't get traded before the draft. I just think that, if I'm Houston, he's already been sitting. I'm not giving him away, helping another team. I want what he's worth. I'll keep him and sit him on the bench. He's been sitting there for well over a year. I'll do that before I just give him away.
Or a jail cell.
Yeah, fair enough.
That takes us to, what do you got, Sam?
Let's talk about Jameis Winston. We were just kind of touching on him a little bit there.